How's your day going? Good? I got a story for you. And it's not what you think. It's about robberies. So if you were thinking robberies, you're right. It's not about recent robberies either. It's about robberies that happened back in the day. And I'm not talking about the 80s either. I'm talking about not even the 70s. I'm talking about the 30s. I'm talking about the 20s. I love robberies. Not that you should do it. Now, let me make myself clear. Do not rob anything. Do not rob anywhere. So don't do that. But there are some really fascinating robberies that happened back in 1930s. And in that time frame, right? 20s, 40s, all back then. Really interesting robberies. Like, who would have thought of that kind of robberies, right? There was a group of guys that went and robbed motels, and they robbed, like, apartment complexes / motels. Back then, a lot of people actually lived in / motel apartment complexes, right? They kept their valuables in a safe room that, like, you see those old movies where you walk into a room and there's all these safe deposit boxes all lined up. I mean, they still have them today, but you know, if you've seen any older movie, there's a lot of that going on, right? Well, this group of guys went in to rob this one motel / apartment complex that people were staying in. And they walked in there and they went to rob the place. They were able to get, I don't know how many workers were there, but they managed to get all those grouped up before they could call the police, get them put into a room somewheres, and they were able to keep, somebody at the front desk. So anybody that called down for room service or any needs or wants, that could deal with that kind of thing, so there was no disruption. No one would have to come downstairs. They blocked off the elevator. They got it all set up, right? So they could go in this room and start robbing this place, right? They're going to rob this place blind, and they were going to steal as much money as they could possibly steal, which turned out to be quite a bit of money. It wasn't a couple $100 here. You're talking in that time frame, in that time, you're talking millions of dollars, right? And if you do the conversion, right? Well, they're robbing this place, and this old man comes walking through the door to come home, come back to his place, come back to the motel room. And he comes walking through the door, and he gets startled that there's people robbing the place. And he starts freaking out. He starts to have a heart attack right there. Starts having a heart attack. And what did these bank robbers do? They didn't we got to run away. No, they didn't. They stopped robbing the place, got this guy a recliner, put a table next to the recliner, got him a bottle of water and a sandwich. And I'll tell you why they did this in a minute. But they got him a sandwich, sat down with this guy, and had a conversation with him. They didn't have masks on. They didn't have some disguise like Batman or Robin or Wonder Woman on. No, they were dressed just like I am. Just like you are right now. And they sat down and had a discussion with this guy. Talked to him. Calmed him down. Sat and had a bottle of water with him. Got him calm. And then they continued to rob the place. But before they continued to rob the place, they said to this guy, "What number box do you have? What's the number on your box, your safety deposit box in there? Because we are not going to rob you. We're going to rob everybody else. We're going to rob and break into everybody else's box. 200, 300 boxes or whatever. But your box, we're going to leave it alone. If you got $1 billion in there, if you got $1,000 in there, we don't care. We don't need to know. But we are not taking your money. We're not taking your jewelry. We're not taking anything of yours. We're just going to rob everybody else. So you just relax. Finish your sandwich. Finish your bottle of water. You want another one? And that's what they did. And I'll tell you why they did that. Because back in that day, when you went and robbed somewheres, if somebody got a paper cut, you got more time. If somebody had a heart attack and died, if somebody died with a gun or just having a heart attack, they got life in prison. Period. End of discussion. No debating it. No arguing it. No pleading down to another lesser crime. They got life. So they did everything they could do, would do, to make sure that they did not hurt somebody. Even give them a paper cut. Because if they did, they would get a stiffer sentence if they got caught. No matter what they robbed, didn't matter. They might have to pay that back. They might have to pay a portion of it back. But if they got a paper cut, they were done. They were getting 50 years, 60 years for a paper cut. If they killed somebody, they were done. Done. They were never seeing the light of day again. Do you see where I'm going with this? Because I think you do. Why is it today that is not the case when it was back then? So there's a history lesson. If you like that, I might have a few extra. And if I don't, or if you like it, go look that story up. There's a lot more details with it. I'm just giving you the highlights of it. There's a lot of details to that story. I think you would like it. But there's a lot of other ones that are very interesting. And why would they do that? And how did they pull that off? And where were the police? So I'm telling you, this kind of stuff really fascinates me, especially the ones that are in the 30s and 20s and around that whole era that was a big deal back then. I mean, that was almost like a daily job for some people. So go check them out. Until next time.